All right, Lauren, thanks so much. We know you guys had a lot of questions. We certainly do too. I have friends that are canceling travel plans, worrying about their kids, and we wanted to bring in our health reporter, Rosemarie Beltz, who you work in hospitals every other week, basically. So are you seeing different precautions being taken for this virus, or no, because it really hasn't been widespread in the U.S. yet?
Well, it's cold and flu season, so in my setting, we are really worried about the flu virus spreading, because we know that's a threat here in the United States. As far as the coronavirus is concerned, since they've discovered this virus, they've been looking for tests. As Lauren had told us, there is a test at the CDC that is developed for this. So I hope I answer your question. So as far as precautions go, do we take precautions? Yes, but we take all patients, any sort of virus.
All viruses.
All
You're
viruses.
looking out for all viruses, not
exactly.
just coronavirus.
Especially when patients are immune compromised and so forth. But I think we're talking about really with the test here, right? With the CDC, we want to concentrate on.
We can do that. Can anybody be tested for coronavirus right now?
So right now, I know a lot of people, I have like flu-like symptoms, I'm not being tested. So I do want to say that this virus, what makes it different, it's the genetic makeup of the virus. It's in the same family as the SARS virus or the MERS virus, but this genetic component, which is making it more difficult to test for. So these tests are very complicated, they're sensitive. So up until today, the center in Atlanta are the only people that are authorized to run the test. However, the FDA just lifted that. An emergency authorization has been lifted, so now CDC labs across the country are now authorized to perform these tests. So if you have the flu and so forth, or if you flu-like symptoms, you might not necessarily be tested. You have to have been possibly exposed to the virus, travel, or maybe been around somebody who has been exposed to the virus. Does that make sense?
Yes, and we want people to be educated, not afraid. And
exactly.
Right now, JR and I, who haven't traveled out of South Carolina, in the last...
It's been a while.
Yeah, in the last 2 months, we're safe, right?
Well, as we know now, but the situation is constantly evolving. So we want to be prepared, not panic. Again, good hygiene, reduce those risks of possibly getting sick, period.
I want to talk about numbers because we're relying on China to give us the numbers tonight. I have seen some reports coming out of Hong Kong that say China is not being honest with these numbers, and that there's a belief that the numbers could be 20, perhaps 30 times worse than what China is giving us tonight. How do we know what's going on here? Has WHO been there? Is the U.S. health experts going there?
Right now, I can only report what I'm reading from the CDC and the FDA. I'm not familiar with those numbers. I can only report what they're reporting to the public. But there are a large amount of patients, right? And since the testing is limited, there's a lot of people that are not being able to get tested. So with that being said, then there's people that are not being treated, not being hospitalized, not being put in isolation. That could be true. I can't say for sure, but there are tests. There are researchers right now in Hong Kong working on better tests that can test patients faster.
Would we know more if WHO went to China and if U.S. health officials went to China? Would we know more?
Probably, because it's all hearsay right now. We're relying on their reporting at this point.
Wait, I have one more question before we go. Those masks. We've seen the masks in every video we show. Are the masks actually protecting people? And do you think that's something eventually we should buy? I mean, it's cold and flu season here. Should we be wearing masks?
Well, I was traveling. I saw lots of masks and in the hospital.
At the airports.
And the airports and so forth. The CDC is not recommending them at this time. Will they help reduce the risk of getting any colder virus? Absolutely. If you're sick, it's not a bad idea. If you're around somebody who is at risk, a compromised immune system, maybe of getting sick, but nothing is 100%. I can only say we can reduce the risk, but nothing. So until there's notice that we should wear a mask, it's not something that the CDC is saying.
When you flew last week, did you wear the mask?
I did not. I did wipe down everything in my room.
You Lysoled everything? Okay.
I have to wear a mask, but I did not wear one on the plane. I didn't want to freak anybody out.
Okay. All right. Good advice. Thank you so much, Rosemarie Beltz, there with answering some questions about coronavirus. Though now we've got some questions about our forecast.
Danielle Miller is standing by.